Are you drinking alcohol while you are watching this? Are you doing a line of cocaine? Why am I asking you this? Well, I've been collecting literature on lawyers' problems over the last 30 years. In a survey of 2,000 lawyers in California, half of them said they wouldn't do it again. Male lawyers commit suicide twice the rate of the normal population. Lawyers are number one in depression among 105 professions. Alcoholism, drug abuse, and heart attacks are higher among lawyers than the normal population. And women lawyers who work more than 45 hours per week are 3 times more likely to miscarriage than women working less than 35 hours. You want to quit law practice? Wait. I have a lecture and it's called Surviving Law Practice. Now this lecture is primarily aimed at young lawyers and law students, but I hope the old lawyers like me will have some helpful ideas in this presentation. But first, I need someone to introduce me.
Hi, my name is Orion. But first, you're going to have to excuse me for not being completely objective in regards to Paul Harris. You see, he's my grandfather. Although he has been teaching at 3 law schools, writing books, and doing trials, he has always had time for his family. He co-founded the multiracial law collective, the San Francisco Community Law Collective, where secretaries and lawyers were equal partners. He's also been described as one of the best trial lawyers in the country. And he was president of the National Lawyers Guild. Alright, that's enough compliments. Let's get back to the presentation. Ooh, one more thing. During intermission, my sister, my brother, and I will be doing a short hip-hop routine, so stay tuned.
Let's look at the flash points which cause lawyers all these problems. Control over your life. One of my brothers was a steel worker. Now he had a good union, but even with the union, he did not have control over his working conditions. Major stress is a problem for workers. The lack of control over your working life actually can damage your immune system. Now, as lawyers, we have more control over our lives than steel workers. Unfortunately, if you are a litigator like me, then because of autocratic judges, calendars, and their assembly line mentality, you will suffer constant stress. The less control you have at work, the more control you need in your personal life. So let's start looking at your personal life. Number 1, money. Most of you have heard the incorrect quote that money is the root of all evil. No, the correct biblical quote is that the love of money is the root of all evil. So how do we deal with this love for money, the desire for money? Well, I'll give you a few Paul Harris formulas. The first formula is MC plus MH equals MM. More cases plus more hours equals more money. By the way, when I was teaching law school, this is the part I said, students, please take notes. Now, guerrilla lawyering changes the first 2 M's to L's. So we get less cases and less hours equals more control. And more control equals BQL. Barbecue lunch. No, that's not right. More control equals BQL, better quality of life. Here are 4 ideas that'll help you have a better quality of life. 1, develop specific skills. In today's legal world, the general practitioner is dead. It is very difficult, except for the Renaissance man or woman, to be proficient at more than 2 areas of the law. If you have specific skills in 1 or 2 areas, your job options will be greater. 2, be conscious of your lifestyle. The less money you need, the more options you have. It's much easier to increase your material lifestyle than it is to voluntarily decrease that lifestyle. So don't get into that trap of a costly lifestyle. 3, be conscious. Be aware of your peers and your working colleagues' values and lifestyle. They will have an impact on you sometimes that you won't even know. You have to be true to your own values. And 4th, be careful who you partner with, who you marry, who you have kids with. Their demands will significantly affect the kind of lifestyle that you have, the options that you have. Their values will either support or weaken your work. Oops, I see 4 of you. 4 of you just changed expressions. You're thinking, I better get out of that relationship. Hey, blame it on me. Blame it on the lecture. It's just water. Next topic, productivity. You and your firm will be more productive if morale is high. This includes the morale of your legal workers, your secretaries, your staff. Treat your staff with respect and kindness. If you do this, you will have a more pleasant working atmosphere. You will have a more efficient office. So do this because it works well and because you're a good person. Learn how to manage your time. When I had a brief to write, for example, I would come into the office an hour early. And for 2.5 hours, I would take no phone calls and no interruptions. That way I was focused and energized on my brief writing. You know, just last week, my law partner, one of my partners, and I went off to swim at noon. We drive up in front of the swimming pool. His cell phone rings. He takes the damn call. What are you doing? We're there to refocus, to re-energize, and he's taking a phone call from a client. You have to master technology. You have to master the torture room of email. You have to manage your phone. You don't have to take every phone call. You don't have to respond to every email. If you have kids, take a half hour before you leave the office and do relaxation exercises. Then go home. You'll be a better spouse, you'll be a better partner, you'll be a better parent. Let's look at the hours that you put in. As social justice lawyers, you cannot burn out because the revolution needs you, and revolution is a long and difficult process. When we were in the Law Collective, we instituted a policy of working 4 days a week. That's right, 4 days a week. The office was open 5 days a week, and when you had a trial, you worked, of course, 7 days a week. But our usual formula was 4 days a week. One legal worker used that extra day to go back to college and get her degree. One lawyer used it for 3-day weekends. I used it to stay home with my kids. Yeah, we made less money, but we had a BQL, a better quality of life. Have you heard of a lawyer named Leif Cabraser? She was one of the most successful civil lawyers in America. I'd like to read you a quote from her after her amazing career began to wind down. Quote, "If I had it to do it again, I'd spend more time, way more time with my kids. I owed my kids a lot more than I gave them. I did not as I should have done in terms of balancing my life." Look at this picture. This is me and my youngest son. Answer this question. Would you rather make $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year more? Or would you rather have spent more time with the people you love? Now, to clear our heads, get ourselves more focused, I'm going to give us an intermission. And during that intermission, 3 of my grandkids are going to do one of their hip-hop routines.
New whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass that bitch like Stockton. Just joshing. I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins. Sports in the top 10. I can put the ball in the end zone, put a bad bitch in the friend zone. This shit sound like an intro jet song, give me that tempo. Told Pooh he a fool with the shit. Told her don't let her friends know. In the Ville and I move like a dime. Eating fettuccine at Vincenzo's.
Okay, we're back. The next topic is personal growth. I'm going to give you a 12-point checklist. I want you to do it every 6 months. 1. Do you feel that there are opportunities for career growth in the firm? 2. What is the timetable for that growth? What is the timetable for promotions? 3. Are you allowed to sit in on client interviews? 4. Are you allowed to go to depositions? 5. Are you taken to court? When you do go to court, are you allowed to sit at counsel table? When you are taken to court, are you allowed to go into chambers? Now, our law collective did this. Took law students into chambers, sat them at counsel table, and that was before law students were certified. There is no reason why law students and young lawyers cannot be totally integrated into the case. Even if you're not a litigator, even if you're a researcher, seeing how a trial works, seeing how law in motion works, seeing how appellate arguments go will make you a more efficient, better lawyer. I think we're on number 8. Do you get constructive criticism of your written work? When you are helping on a case, number 9, does your supervisor discuss strategy and tactics with you? 10. Are you given space to make your own decisions? 11. Do you have any cases for which you have full responsibility? And finally, is anyone interested in mentoring you at your office? You know, the National Lawyers Guild has a general mentoring program. Don't be shy. Join the organization, call them up. Get a mentor. Have 1 or 2 peers that you can call and discuss your legal ideas, go over cases with. Patience. It takes 3 years before you know whether you are a good lawyer. After 3 years, if you have realistic doubts about your abilities as a lawyer, ask yourself these questions. Paul Harris's 4-point test. 1. Ask yourself, have I been well trained at my workplace? And if not, you have to bring it up, difficult as that may be. 2. Do I have a serious confidence problem? And if you do, go see a therapist. I'm not kidding. You have to have confidence as a lawyer. 3. Am I in the wrong field of law? One that's not in harmony with my skills, or one that's not in harmony with my values? You know, unlike TV, most lawyers don't do litigation. The vast majority of lawyers never even argue in court. That's fine. There are many different roles that you can play within the legal profession. Find one that fits your skills. Find one that fits your emotional strength. All right. Here's the big one, number 4. Now remember, it's after 3 years. Is law the wrong profession? Is there something else I really want to do? And I don't mean, oh, I'll do that and then I'll get stuck in that profession also. Is there something I really want to do, which is better suited to me than law? I had 2 friends, very good lawyers. One of them, she was on her way to being a great lawyer. They both quit legal practice, and they have had successful, rewarding careers. One as a landscape architect, and the other as a documentary filmmaker. Actually, maybe you've seen some of her films on the legal world. Her name's Abby Ginsburg. She just did a great film on the Congresswoman Barbara Lee. Alienation. All right, it's an alienated world. We know that. Buffy the Vampire Slayer said it best. The hardest thing about life is living in it. In order that law practice doesn't crush you, you need comradeship, you need collaboration, and you need purpose. I'd like to read you something from attorney Robin Shello. Robin has an amazing practice, intense practice, representing young people in juvenile court in Milwaukee. Here's what she wrote. Quote, as Arturo's grandmother was leaving hours later, she tucked my hair behind my ear in a gesture much like my own mother and said, one of the reasons we hired you is because we know having Arturo's life in your hands frightens you. Don't pretend not to be afraid. For that we could have hired anyone. In that moment, I knew all that was good and kind and decent lived in the space between us. For me, it is not the loud clash of lawyers doing battle, but the silent gesture of a stranger brushing the hair out of my eyes. I am blessed that people trust me with the people they love. Every now and then, and never publicly, I realize that one of the incalculable differences I bring to the representation of young kids charged with murder is love. And for that I am forever grateful that I know I am loved and know how to love. If you want to read something about the amazing cases of Robin Shello, one in particular, if you have my book, Black Rage Confronts the Law, still available used, See pages 203 to 13 to 213 and read about Robin and one of her cases. It's definitely worthwhile. Comradeship. Comradeship. We need political support. Given the obscene amounts of student loans, and in many areas the overabundance of lawyers, and the competition for jobs, some of you will have to take jobs that are less than politically fulfilling. So you will need to find a legal organization where you find collaboration and comradeship, where you can develop rewarding relationships that support you and teach you. For me, it was the National Lawyers Guild. For you, it could be something else. But do it. Your activity in the group can wax and wane depending on your personal life. But you will find that that kind of political support helps you with the isolation, the alienation, and yes, the ugliness of law practice. All right, my last formula. LCV equals HHIP. Living consistent with your values equals harmony, happiness, and inner peace. You came to law school, you came to law practice with ideals of social justice. You wanted to fight against inequality. You wanted to fight against repression. The dynamics of law practice push you away from that. If you do not practice consistent with the values that you started with, you will become cynical and or apathetic. Yeah, you may have a successful career. You may be one of those lawyers they write about. But believe me, law practice will have changed you for the worse. If your law practice and the way you live your life is consistent with your values, you will find a measure of peace and inner happiness. You as a lawyer, as a social justice lawyer, are in an essential position. In this country, with the emphasis on legalism, lawyers are in an essential position. And you will be able to change the world, to help change the world, to make it more equal, more just, and a better society for all of us.
If you appreciated this presentation, make sure to check out my grandfather's YouTube channel, Paul Harris, Guerrilla Lawyering, in the next 2 months. It'll make him really happy. He will be doing the following topics: how to survive as a people's lawyer, what is guerrilla lawyering, how to win using the theory of the case, and finally, violence against women in the legal system. There you have it. Thanks.